Hello students and welcome to today's class. Today topic is adverbs of frequency. So let's begin. Do you remember the highlighted words from the lecture in the last class? These highlighted words? Here we have usually, always, sometimes, hardly ever. These are adverbs of frequency. Alright, now let's see what adverbs of frequency are. Adverbs of frequency are the adverbs to describe how often something occurs. For example, I always take a shower in the morning. She sometimes wakes up late. They never go out on weekends. Now let's see the different adverbs of frequency. Always, usually, often, sometimes, hardly ever, and never. You use always when you do an action very often, almost every day. For example, my mom always sleeps early. Now let's see when we use never. We use never when you do not do an action at all. For example, I never use my cell phone in class. Then we use usually when you normally do an action. For example, she usually goes to school by bus. Often is used when you do an action several times. For example, if you eat in a restaurant every weekend, you can say, I often eat at a restaurant. Then we use sometimes to talk about an action you do only a few times. For example, if I am tired only one day every week, you can say, you are sometimes tired. Finally, we use hardly ever to talk about an action you almost never do. For example, if in the complete semester you only miss 2 classes, you can say, I hardly ever miss a class. Very important. If you use the verb be, the adverb goes after the verb. The adverb goes after the verb. But if you use any other verb, the adverb goes before the verb. The adverb goes before the verb. Very good, students. Now let's practice this. But before this, remember that you must take notes about the explanation of this topic. Alright, now let's practice. Please open your workbook on page 6. This will be the exercise number 7. For the exercise A, I'm going to play an audio, and you must write the adverbs of frequency in the lines. For example, let's listen to the adverb of frequency in line A.
A.
Always,
So the adverb is always. Very good. Let's listen to the rest of the adverbs. Please write them in the blank spaces.
B.
usually,
C.
often,
D.
sometimes,
E.
hardly ever,
F.
never.
All right. If you finish, let's continue with the exercise B. Here, you're going to rewrite the sentences with one adverb from the exercise A, so that the sentences are true for you. For example, the first sentence says, I wake up before the sun rises. In my case, I can use the adverb sometimes because I only do it on Sundays. So I will rewrite the sentence. I wake up before the sun rises. And I will write sometimes in the correct spot. I sometimes wake up before the sun rises. Like this, complete the rest of the sentences so that they are true for you. Remember that the adverb goes after the verb if you use the verb be, but they go before the verb if you use any other verb. When you finish, please continue with the exercise C. This exercise is similar to the last one, but you must use the adverb that is in parentheses. Here we have an example. Luisa goes to Brazil on vacations. Sometimes. And we have the adverb sometimes. So we must rewrite the sentence like this. Luisa sometimes goes to Brazil on vacation. Like the verb is goes, the adverb before the verb. We write the adverb before the verb. Mhm. But if the first sentence we are using the verb be, so the adverb must go here. So we rewrite the sentence like this. Alice always late for class. When you finish, that's gonna be it for this class. Remember that you must take notes about this topic. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.